There was a lovely sunset with silhouetted trees when I was leaving work the other day, so I'll be painting that today and using this photo as reference. I'll start by adding a wash of colours. We've got blues at the top. Add a bit more water to that. And make sure my brush is very clean before I start the yellow, and being very careful not to blend it with the blue because I don't want to mix up a green colour. So I'm going to leave just a little bit of a gap between the two there. I'm going to add some more water to the yellow and just blend it out a little bit. While it's still wet, I might just add in some orange as well. And just let it bleed into the surrounding wash. I decided to take a photo of this sunset because, I mean, it looks beautiful. Who doesn't like a sunset? And it looks straightforward, but I have a feeling that it's going to be much more tricky than meets the eye. What comes to mind straight away is that it would be very easy to make this image look quite flat because you've got a band of colour and then a silhouette. So keep the paper and the paint a little damp while I work on this, just to marry the colours together as best I can. Kiss the horizon with a little bit of red here. I love how neon these colours look. Make the reds a little deeper here where the atmosphere is thicker. And then at the top we'll have more of the dusty blues. And I'll leave it like that for now and let that dry off. And I might just go in and add even more colour there. For these scattered clouds, be quite heavy actually with artistic license here. And I'm using the photo to get an idea of how things look and the types of clouds, but I'm going my own way as far as the shape. I quite like it when the paint balloons and you get these edges where the pigment gathers. I'm going to try and preserve those. Maybe running a little bit too strong here. Just dab that out. I'm going to take a little bit of orange while that's still wet and trace the underside of some of these clouds and allow the water to pull the colour up and into the cloud. It creates a nice effect where the cloud is absorbing the light from the sunset. Then as I move down the page, I'm going to add wisps of orange cloud. Although I can see some low-lying cloud at the back there, so I might add some more blues down here to represent that. The plan I have here is to gradually build up the scene. Try and take my time with it. And yeah, it's looking pretty psychedelic at the moment, but I'm actually okay with that. And a little bit of crimson into the sky as well. I think one of the challenges that I've found is how much water to load onto the paintbrush. It's always a bit of a leap of faith when I reach for a new colour. But I think I'll probably get the hang of it eventually. I might even bring some reds into the underbelly of these clouds here as well. But I'm going to do it quite cautiously. I think some of these could maybe benefit from a little bit of a blend, just to soften them up a little bit. I've just got some water on this brush and I'm doing just that. And then the paint can find its own way. I don't mind if it spreads out and does its own thing. Now that I've put down a base of colour, I think I might add some more water and then use a paper towel to dab out some paint and add a little bit of texture. Okay, well, I'll be honest, I think that felt like one step forward, two steps back. I've pulled out some of the colour in the centre, which is fine, but I've also maybe taken out a bit too much of the clouds at the top, which I was fairly happy with. So I'm going to try and redefine some of those lines and edges now. See if I can save it. Trying to find areas where the paint has naturally come to rest and outlining that. It's a really interesting medium watercolour. It's like the paint has a life of its own. I think that's probably part of the fun as well. You're never quite sure what you're going to end up with. Embrace the chaos. I've mixed a bit of red and blue together to make a purple, and I'm going to add in some darker hues into the clouds, just give them a bit more body. I'm going to try and be sparing with this because I don't want to completely obliterate the lighter shades. So maybe just a dab here and there like that. Trying to get the paint a little bit thicker for these bits. Maybe add a little bit of water actually. It might be looking a bit too precise. We're going to bring some of that purple down here as well, just to carry it through the picture a bit. Some of these lower lying clouds can have a little bit, a few flicks. So I've got a brush with some clean water on it. I'm going to try just dabbing this ever so slightly to see if I can create a more natural, soft, blended look. I'll just gently feather this a little bit and then I'll leave it there, I think. Get these smaller clouds. So I'm going to start thinking now about the dark silhouetted trees. I think it would be a mistake if I went in with black. The best thing to do is to slowly build up the colour and get it to a point where I think I'm happy with it. And I'm also going to build it up using different colours. I'll also have to be careful not to get the paper too wet. I'm constantly building up layers of paint, but every time I do that, I'm adding more water, and I don't want to get to the point where it starts taking a toll on the paper. The trees I'm going to build up gradually, and I'm going to use quite a dry brush, I think. And hopefully what that will do is contrast with the softer, much damper sky. I'm going to try and add a bit more variety into these trees. Give them some maybe slightly funny shapes. Make sure that I also define the base of the trees so they appear a bit more grounded. Maybe actually I'll alter the terrain as well, so it's not just a straight line. Trying to be patient with these, but there are so many of them. I find myself getting increasingly scruffy and sloppy. I'll go over some of the areas with an even darker blue, and I'm hoping what that will do is give a sense of some trees being further back and some further forward. A sense of depth, I guess. I find that wherever I go, if I can watch the sunset in that place or a sunrise, it gives me a sense that I've really seen and experienced wherever I am, which is strange really, considering it's the same sun that we all see. Going to add some earthy tones down here. Let it blend in with some of the blue. Just blob it in. Maybe I'll carry up some of these trees' branches even further to make it slightly more dramatic. It's a tangle of branches. Can't really make out where one tree ends and the next one begins. I'm using a dry brush to create the impression that there are trees further back as well, much lighter, just to give a sense of depth. And to enhance that effect even more, I've got some black on the brush here, and for the trees closest, I'm adding a few flicks of that here and there. I might go really dark in some areas, like up here. And here as well. Make the base of this tree really punchy. Because the brush is dry, I've not made it very wet, it's leaving these little gaps, sort of dragging the brush, and it makes it sort of like dotted, sort of mottled look almost, and I like that. It's giving the impression of unseen detail. So an issue right now that I can see is that the foreground here is a very similar value to what we've got going on in the sky, and that I think is a bit of an issue because it makes them look like they're all on the same plane, and I want it to have more depth to it. As much as I love what the colours have done here and how they've blended together, I think I need to go in and deepen them even more. I'm going to try and use the tones that I liked before, just be a bit more generous with how much paint I load onto the brush. Browns and blues. The blue, in fairness, looks quite cold. And then I'll be really brave and get some black in there as well. I'm not being very strategic here. Maybe I should be. There, I'll try and be a bit more purposeful with where I layer that. Give an impression of terrain. I might even get some reds in there too. Not too much. Or maybe, I don't know, the red has added a almost sinister eeriness to it. Add some brown in instead. There we go. That's better. I like that. I'm going to keep playing around with the trees here. Little specks of brown, the same that I used down here, just to give them some sort of connection with one another. I use it on the trees that are closest. Well, I'm going to leave it there. This has been a really interesting practice where on the face of it, it seems like quite a simple image. In reality, it's quite a tricky image to capture. I like how colourful the sky is and what I did there, and trying to create some sort of depth in the woods, the foreground here. I would have liked it if the sunset was more of a neon orange. Mine is more of an LA smog, but it's okay. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll hopefully catch you next time.